Hello everyone, and welcome to the TBM video series. I'm your host, Jim Rush, editor of TBM Tunnel Business Magazine, and it's my pleasure to welcome our special guest today, Gary Sergent. Gary is the Senior Director of Sales and Marketing for IWT. Good morning, Gary.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for having me on the program.
So Gary, can you start off by telling us a little bit about IWT as a company?
Well, IWT stands for Innovative Wireless Technologies, and we take innovative to heart. We started off in the late 90s as a contract manufacturing group in the mobile communication space, sort of like when the early days of cellular. We brought that expertise of wireless communications into the mining and tunneling markets over the last 20 years. And what we do is we work with customers closely, both in the government and the industrial space, to answer problems, solve challenges, whether that's voice, text, data, SCADA systems, or any of the multitude of things that can be used with or solved with wireless technologies. That's what IWT really likes to get into.
Wow, that's impressive. So what problem does IWT solve for the tunneling industry?
Well, most tunneling projects, they have a lot of different things they need to do. They need communications, they need atmospheric gas monitoring, they need ventilation and airflow monitoring, they need to get the data from the TBMs or the drilling machines. Larger operations might need to track their assets and their personnel. So with IWT, we can bring all of that into one integrated network. What does that mean for the customer? Really, it means less stuff to maintain, less equipment in the mine or in the tunnel because they're doing it all in one integrated network. So less maintenance, less time for maintenance, less hours from your technical staff. It's just simplified overall with one integrated network that does all of that instead of 4 to 6 different systems they're all doing their own thing from different vendors. So that's what IWT really brings to the table, is doing it all with one network that's easier to maintain and take care of.
So there are other wireless solutions on the market. What sets IWT apart?
Well, an IWT network is truly wireless. If you say wireless in most aspects, most of our competitors are still using a cable as the backbone. Whether that's a radiating leaky feeder cable or it's Ethernet or it's fiber optic, it's still a cable that is running between all the infrastructure. What does a cable do? It breaks. If a rock falls, a machine runs over it, a machine snags it as it drives by and gets it knocked down. You've lost most of the system, if not all of the system. So with an IWT solution, it is truly wireless between our infrastructure devices. We may use a fiber optic as a redundant path and higher bandwidth, but we will never rely on a cable as the backbone for our system.
You mentioned data. What sort of data can customers use with an IWT system?
Well, by nature, the IWT system is going to generate a lot of data on its own. So that may be the voice data, the text messaging data, atmospheric gases, or some kind of other controls. But we can bring in SCADA information from different water pumps, ready mix plants, data from the TBMs or from the drilling machines. And we can interface with solutions out there like Wi-Fi. We do provide 802.11 Wi-Fi access points, so we can do anything in that space. We can work with Modbus. We can work with OPC UA protocol standards to integrate with this myriad of networks that are out there. So it doesn't have to be an IWT device to generate the data. It can be any kind of sensor or control system in the tunneling project.
So does this mean that customers can use smartphones, tablets, laptops, etc. when connected to the system?
Yep, absolutely. So we can create Wi-Fi hotpoints or hotspots. We don't use Wi-Fi as our backbone. We have our own protocol for that, but we can work with Wi-Fi enabled devices. So yes, any kind of smart device. And customers use that for a lot of different purposes. Some like to use it for electronic forms, basically digitizing the old pen and paper way of doing the reports, which really speeds up the operational efficiency. If they have a tablet underground and they do their e-form and they send that information outside, then the operation managers get that information a lot more quickly. Others will use it for video. Maybe they're troubleshooting a machine underground. They need to talk to the vendor. They want to show them what they're working on and find out what they need to do to fix it. Another application is just emails, text messaging, staying in contact. Basically we're going to bring today's technology that we're so used to on the surface and take it underground so that today's miners and underground workers get the same benefits that the workers above ground get. So that's really what we like to do is provide these solutions for the underground space.
What would be the maximum deployment of one of your networks?
The actual theoretical capacity of an IWT system is about 64,000 devices, and that is a lot. And when I say a lot, it's like our biggest customer covers about 15 to 20 miles underground and has around 3,000 employees on all their 3 shifts. But with all of that added up together, it's only like 10% of the actual capacity of the system. So we've got lots of room to grow, and we love big projects, but we like the small projects too. We know there's a lot of micro tunnelers probably watching this video and thinking, well, I don't need 3,000 devices. I only need a handful of relay nodes and I need maybe 10 handsets. We've got you covered. We can do that, small or large, application of any size, we can take care of that.
This has been very informative. Thank you. Is there anything else viewers should know about IWT's tunnel solution?
Well, one thing we do offer is leasing and rental options. We think that's pretty unique to us. We know some projects only last for 1 month, 2 months, maybe 3 or 4 months. Inspection, projects, short-term tunnel, projects, but sometimes even 1 year or 2 years. But you don't want to buy a full system. You don't want to keep up with this. Where are all the parts? You don't want your office staff trying to track where did that communication system get to? Where's all the handsets for it? Have they been broken? Have they been taken care of? So we offer rental solutions for these applications. Every time you rent a system from us, it has been cleaned, tested, and checked out by an IWT technician before it gets to the job site. It's ready to go right out of the box, just like a brand new system. So we think that's a pretty good solution and one that a lot of customers like to take advantage of on these short projects.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Gary, for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you, Jim, and we invite all the watchers and listeners of this video to check us out at the next RETC and start the conversation today at IWTwireless.com.